Hello, beautiful sisters. I'm Coach Sandra, founder of Life Coach for Ladies and the Truth Mindset Movement. It is such a joy and honor to be with you for the Dressing Esther Women's Retreat. Today's message is the scepter. It's all about influence and position. It's a sacred invitation to remember that when God calls you to stand before Him, He does not send you empty handed. He equips you with courage, wisdom, and divine favor. Picture Esther standing in the outer court of the palace. The law says anyone who enters the king's inner court uninvited could die, unless he extends the golden scepter. Esther takes a breath. She adjusts her robe. Her knees may be trembling, but her spirit stands tall. She has fasted. She has prayed. She has positioned her heart in obedience. And now she steps forward, not demanding favor, but standing in alignment with divine purpose. Esther 4:16 records her resolve. I will go in unto the king, and if I perish, I perish. When your heart bows before God, your influence rises before men. Favor begins not in striving, but in posture. The golden scepter was not an accident, it was heaven's affirmation. And beloved, God has extended that same scepter towards you. Today we will learn how to live with the posture of Esther, a royal rhythm of courage, obedience, and purpose. The Lord gave me this divine pattern called the Esther framework to help us remember how to walk in kingdom influence and favor. Each step is a spiritual garment, a layer of preparation that dresses us in grace for our kingdom assignment. Let's walk through each one together. E is enter the court with courage. Esther stepped into the unknown with faith as her footing. Courage is not the absence of fear, it is obedience in the presence of it. Joshua 1:9 reminds us, be strong and of a good courage, be not afraid, for the Lord thy God is with thee, wherever so you goest. When God calls you forward, you don't need permission from people. You already have the favor of the king. Here's a reflection. What door has God placed before you that requires courage to enter? Sometimes the bravest act is simply taking the first step into the court. S, stand in divine alignment. Esther's posture before the king was not demanding, it was discerning. She positioned herself with humility and grace. Esther 5:2 says, and she obtained favor in his sight. Alignment means my heart, thoughts, and actions are in sync with heaven's will. It is standing where God has placed you, not shrinking back in doubt or running ahead in fear. James 4:10 reminds us, humble yourselves in the sight of the Lord, and he shall lift you up. When you stand in alignment with God, you don't chase favor, favor finds you. T is touch the scepter of grace. Esther did not demand the scepter, the king extended it first. This moment represents access and acceptance, an open invitation from God himself. Psalm 45:6 declares, thy throne, O God, is forever and ever. The scepter of thy kingdom is a right scepter. Grace always moves first. And when you draw near to God, he extends his favor toward you. Let me ask, are you reaching toward the scepter or standing at a distance in fear? Your nearness to God determines the measure of your peace and your power. H is hear the voice of wisdom. Esther was known not only for her courage, but for her restraint. She waited, she listened. Before she spoke, she fasted. Before she acted, she prayed. Proverbs 31:26 says, she opened her mouth with wisdom, and in her tongue is the law of kindness. Influence in the kingdom requires holy listening. A wise woman hears beyond the noise. She hears heaven. Here's another reflection. Am I listening for God's whisper before I speak his will? Sometimes the power of influence is not what you say, but in what you wait to hear. E is engage in purposeful influence. Once the king extended the scepter, Esther's influence was activated. Her courage became compassion in action. Her words carried deliverance. Every obedient act she made rippled through history. Never underestimate the influence of small obedience. Colossians 3:23 says, "And whatsoever ye do, do it heartily as to the Lord." Whether you're raising children, leading women, serving a ministry, or encouraging a friend, your presence shifts atmospheres. When you engage your influence for God's glory, He multiplies the impact beyond what you can see. R is reign with humility and honor. Even when Esther stood in royal robes, she remembered her roots. True queenship is not about status, it is about service. She reigned with grace because she remembered the one who placed her there. 1 Peter 5:6 says, "Humble yourselves, therefore, under the mighty hand of God, that he may exalt you in due time." Influence without humility becomes pride, but influence wrapped in honor becomes legacy. Final reflection. How can I reign with grace today in my home, my work, and my ministry? Now, I invite you into a moment of holy posture. If you're able, stand where you are or simply sit with your hands open before the Lord. Imagine the King of Kings extending his golden scepter toward you. Hear him say, "My daughter, you are welcome in my presence. You have my favor. Draw near." Now take your hand and gently lift it as though touching the top of that scepter. Repeat this declaration with me. The King has extended his scepter toward me. I stand in his favor. I speak with his wisdom. I move in his authority. I will use my voice, my posture, and my presence for his glory. You are no longer striving for favor. You are standing in it. Esther's story is not just a royal chronicle. It's a spiritual mirror. When she stood before the king, she stood for her people. When she used her voice, she changed a nation. And so can you. Isaiah 61 declares, "Arise, shine, for thy light is come, and the glory of the Lord is risen upon thee." Beloved, you are not hidden. You are being prepared. You are not overlooked. You are being positioned. Remember this truth, dear sister. When your heart bows before the King, your influence rises before the world. You are chosen, you are crowned, you are called for such a time as this. When you live by the Esther framework, entering with courage, standing in alignment, touching grace, hearing wisdom, engaging purpose, and reigning with honor, you carry the posture of heaven into every earthly place.